Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Radical responsibility means no more blame, no more waiting, and no more excuses. It's the foundational shift where you decide that everything in your life, the good, the bad, the stuck, the soaring, is yours. Not in a guilt-heavy way, but in a power-claiming way. It's the moment you stop pointing fingers at circumstances, parents, bosses, partners, or systems, and instead look in the mirror and say, I'm in charge now. This is where everything begins. It's not about fault, it's about ownership. It's not about being perfect, it's about being accountable. When you embrace radical responsibility, you take control of what you can control, your reactions, your mindset, your choices, your energy. That's the real battlefield. That's the real leverage point. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. They wait for the world to be easier, for people to understand them, for time to be right. But waiting is a trap disguised as comfort. Radical responsibility demands that you step out of that trap and into discomfort on purpose. Because growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens in the trenches of honesty. It happens when you stop sugarcoating your patterns and start calling them what they are: avoidance, procrastination, fear, resentment. And instead of trying to change the world around you, you focus on the only thing you've ever truly had control over: yourself. When you live from this place, you stop playing the victim in your own story. You stop negotiating with your potential. You stop giving power to your excuses. Suddenly, hard conversations become necessary, not optional. Boundaries become non-negotiable, and progress becomes personal. You realize that your job isn't to be perfect. It's to be responsible for what you do next. You're allowed to have hard days, messy thoughts, and emotional reactions, but you're not allowed to hand over the keys to your life because of them. Radical responsibility means you don't get to quit on yourself just because it's hard. It means your commitment to growth has to be louder than your need to be comfortable. It's easy to post quotes and talk about mindset, but radical responsibility shows up when no one's watching. It shows up when you decide to stop scrolling and start moving, when you shut the door, sit down, and do the work, when you admit that your lack of results is not about bad luck, it's about inconsistent effort, distraction, or fear. That honesty hurts, but it also frees you, because when you take ownership, you reclaim your power. Every excuse loses its grip. Every delay becomes a choice. And choice, not chance, becomes the engine of your transformation. Choice. Radical responsibility asks one question again and again: what can I do right now to move forward? Not someday. Not when it's perfect. Not when you feel like it. Right now. Obsession is often misunderstood. People think it means being extreme, losing balance, becoming unhealthy. But when it comes to your growth, your vision, and the life you say you want, obsession isn't the problem. It's the solution. It's the fire that keeps you going when motivation fades. It's the reason you keep showing up when no one's clapping, when the results are invisible, when it's just you, your grit, and the dream in your chest. Obsession is what separates dabblers from doers, wishers from warriors. It's the commitment to go all in, to not just try, but to become. We live in a world that praises moderation, but growth doesn't happen in moderation. Growth demands intensity, focus, and an unshakable why. That kind of fuel doesn't come from casual interest. It comes from obsession. It comes from replaying the vision in your mind until it's burned into your bones. It comes from deciding that your dream matters so much you're willing to look weird, work late, fail often, and be misunderstood. Obsession doesn't mean burnout. It means alignment. It means everything in you, your thoughts, your habits, your energy, is aimed at the same target. And when you get into that state, things start to move. Most people quit not because they lack talent, but because they lack obsession. They treat their goals like hobbies, not missions. They show up when it's easy, but vanish when it's inconvenient. Obsession changes that. It makes the work non-negotiable. It turns discipline into a lifestyle, not a task. It rewires your brain to seek progress over perfection, consistency over comfort. You stop needing outside validation because the obsession becomes its own reward. You start waking up with fire, not because life got easier, but because you finally have something that matters more than your distractions. Obsession gives you an edge in a world that settles. It makes you relentless in a culture of excuses. It teaches you how to focus when others flinch, how to keep going when others retreat. It doesn't mean you ignore rest. It means your rest has purpose. It doesn't mean you isolate. It means you protect your energy. Obsession is not about being unbalanced. It's about being all in on what moves you forward. That kind of intensity scares people who are used to shrinking. But you weren't made to shrink. You were made to stretch. You were made to build, to break patterns, to lead yourself through the storm. If you're not obsessed with your growth, you'll be obsessed with your distractions. If you're not focused on your future, you'll be fixated on your past. Obsession anchors you. It makes you get up when you don't feel like it, take action when it's uncomfortable, and believe in yourself when nothing around you gives you a reason to. It's not toxic. It's the price of excellence. It's the mindset of people who refuse to settle for mediocrity. It's the fuel for the days when you have no applause, no proof, and no shortcut. Just hunger and a vision that won't let you quit. Motivation is loud and exciting. It's the rush you feel after watching an inspiring video or hearing a powerful speech. It's that surge of energy that makes you want to overhaul your life overnight. Creating something that nobody wants makes you feel good. Now that's powerful. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It fades. It disappears when the alarm goes off early, when the workout hurts, when the progress is slow. Motivation is a spark, not a strategy. It can start the engine, but it won't drive the car. What keeps you moving when motivation vanishes are your habits. The daily choices you repeat without thinking, the quiet, often boring actions that compound over time into transformation. Habits are what carry you when your mood doesn't. They don't care if you're tired, if it's raining, or if you don't feel like it. They're automatic, and that's their power. Once you build them, they carry the weight for you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built one habit at a time. People wait to feel ready, wait to feel inspired, wait for the right moment. But growth doesn't wait. Discipline doesn't wait. Habits don't ask how you feel. They just ask what's next. Motivation is emotional. Habits are behavioral. When you rely on motivation, you're relying on emotion to fuel you. And emotions are unstable. They shift with the weather, with stress, with life. But when you train yourself to follow through no matter what, you free yourself from the roller coaster. And so you've got to be able to fixate. Habits create structure in the chaos. They make success predictable. They give you something to lean on when everything else feels uncertain. It's not about massive action once in a while. It's about small, consistent steps every day, even when no one's watching, even when there's no visible reward. The most successful people aren't always the most passionate. They're the most consistent. They've built routines that support their vision, and they follow them with grit. It's not glamorous, it's not dramatic, but it works. The gym session you don't skip, the journal entry you write, the book you read instead of scrolling, these small acts matter. They add up. They build momentum. They build identity. Every habit you reinforce is a vote for the person you're becoming. It's not about motivation, it's about casting those votes daily, regardless of how inspired you feel. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow the right way before you start sailing. You'll waste time. You'll drift. You'll watch others pass you by. But when you have habits in place, you become the wind. You move forward regardless of resistance. You train your brain to expect action, not delay. And soon, what once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes automatic. That's the quiet superpower of habits. They don't just change your schedule, they change your identity. They build trust with yourself. And that trust is what carries you through the days when every part of you wants to quit. Self-growth doesn't always look like winning. It doesn't always come with applause, validation, or recognition. In fact, the most important transformations often happen in silence, behind closed doors, in moments no one sees. Growth isn't loud, it's quiet. It happens when you choose discipline over distraction, when you confront your own patterns without needing to prove anything to anyone. The external world celebrates results, but real growth lives in the process. It lives in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the habits you build when the room is empty, in the decisions you make that go unnoticed but change everything. We live in a culture that idolizes visibility. If it's not posted, if it's not shared, if it's not liked, it feels like it didn't happen. But growth doesn't need an audience to be real. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs happen when you're sitting in stillness, reflecting, wrestling with your truth, and deciding to be better. No cameras, no likes, just you, your mind, and your next step. Silence is where you meet your honesty. It's where you stop performing and start becoming. And becoming isn't glamorous. It's messy, it's slow, it's painful, but it's also sacred. The applause might come later, or it might not come at all, but the work still matters, because growth isn't about proving your worth, it's about discovering it. It's about building a life that aligns with who you truly are, not who you think the world wants you to be. That alignment is quiet work. It's the work of saying no to things that no longer serve you, of walking away from comfort, of choosing healing over numbing, and every time you do, you grow a little more. Not for show, not for praise, but for peace. The irony is that the deeper your growth, the less you need to talk about it. You no longer need to announce your evolution because you're living it, you're embodying it. You don't seek applause because your reward is internal. It's in the clarity you gain, the boundaries you set, the freedom you feel. You become less reactive, more intentional, less attached to outcomes, more grounded in your process. And that shift, though invisible to others, is massive. It changes how you move through the world. It changes how you lead yourself. Growth in silence builds a foundation that can't be shaken by noise. Because when you don't need validation to stay committed, you become unstoppable. You keep going not because someone is cheering for you, but because you've made a promise to yourself. You begin to trust that your journey is valid even if no one claps, that your inner progress matters, even if no one sees the full story. You become your own witness, your own motivator, your own proof. And that is a kind of strength that can't be faked or taken away. It's earned in the quiet. It's forged in the moments between the milestones. It's the kind of growth that lasts because it was never built for anyone else. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it always delivers. It's the quiet force that keeps you grounded when emotions pull you in every direction. It doesn't care about your mood, your excuses, or your fears. It shows up with you, day after day, with or without motivation. While others chase comfort, discipline keeps you chasing your potential. It's not loud or flashy. It's not driven by hype. It's consistent, reliable, and brutally honest. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to do. That's why discipline is your real best friend. It doesn't flatter you. It challenges you. When everything feels chaotic, discipline gives you structure. It's the reason you keep showing up when results are slow and applause is absent. It's the reason you get up early, keep your promises, and push through resistance. It builds confidence not through words, but through action. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you build trust with yourself. And that self-trust becomes the foundation for everything else. Your goals, your habits, your mindset, your momentum. While motivation comes and goes, discipline is stable. It's not about feeling like doing the work, it's about doing the work regardless. It's about honoring your standards over your feelings. That's not cold, that's powerful. Because when you live by discipline, you no longer wait for perfect conditions, you create your own. You stop being a victim of your environment and start becoming the architect of your outcomes. Discipline teaches you patience in a world addicted to quick wins. It teaches you resilience when shortcuts look tempting. It teaches you how to keep showing up with excellence, even when nobody notices. Discipline isn't restriction, it's freedom. Freedom from guilt, from regret, from repeating the same mistakes. It gives you control over your time, your choices, your energy. It clears the fog of indecision and puts you on a path with clarity. And while it might feel like a burden at first, it becomes your power source. You begin to realize that every small decision you make with discipline is shaping your identity. You're not just building habits, you're becoming the kind of person who doesn't quit on themselves. People often chase passion, but discipline sustains what passion starts. Passion burns hot and fast, but discipline keeps the flame alive when the fire dies down. It's the reason you keep learning, keep growing, keep grinding when the process gets boring. Discipline is your anchor in the storm. It's your voice of reason when your mind starts negotiating. It's your reminder that consistency is king and that showing up beats perfection every single time. Discipline doesn't always get the credit it deserves because it works in the background. But behind every success story, every transformation, every breakthrough, there's discipline. Quiet, consistent, and loyal. The kind of friend that doesn't need recognition because it's too busy helping you become the person you're meant to be. It doesn't sugarcoat things. It doesn't let you off the hook. It holds you to your higher standard, even when you feel like falling back into your old self. No one is coming to pull you out of the pain, the fear, the self-doubt. No one is going to magically show up with a perfect plan for your life. That idea that someone else will fix it is the biggest trap. The truth is, you are your own rescue plan. You are your own hero, your own solution, your own breakthrough. Every time you look outside yourself for saving, you give away your power. And when you finally understand that everything you need is already inside you, the clarity, the grit, the courage, everything begins to shift. Life gets hard. It knocks you down. It puts you in situations that feel impossible. And it's easy in those moments to wish for a shortcut, a savior, a sign. But what you actually need is already there. You need to decide. You need to stand up, even when your legs are shaking. You need to show yourself that you're not going to abandon your life because it got uncomfortable. You're going to fight for it, piece by piece, breath by breath. You're going to move forward in life, fighting for something, even if it's just self-preservation. So, not because someone told you to, but because you decided you're worth it. Being your own rescue plan doesn't mean you don't ask for help. It means you stop waiting for help to be the answer. It means you take responsibility for your choices, your healing, your habits, your mindset. It means you realize that no book, coach, or quote will do the work for you. Tools are great, guidance is powerful, but it only works when you work. You have to be the one who picks up the pieces. You have to be the one who decides this is not where your story ends. You are the person who has to turn the page. You are the one who has to change the pattern. You are the one who has to get honest about what's not working and why. And that level of ownership is where freedom lives. When you stop waiting and start moving, you start rewriting your life. Not overnight, not without setbacks, but with a kind of quiet power that can't be taken from you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to believe that you're capable of doing hard things and that you can build something better from the ground up. Your rescue plan starts when you stop blaming and start building. When you stop numbing and start healing. When you stop fantasizing about change and start showing up for it. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. Willing to try again. Willing to outgrow the version of you that keeps shrinking. Willing to be seen, starting over, failing forward, getting back up. The road won't be smooth, but it will be yours. And that's what makes it worth walking, because every step you take toward yourself is a step away from helplessness. It's a step toward strength, agency, and truth. It's the realization that you were never powerless, just waiting too long for someone else to turn the key. But the key has always been in your hands. Thanks for watching.